Have you noticed that you're doing perfectly normal things, walking up the stairs, stepping off a curb, getting out of the car, and yet they feel just a bit less steady than they used to? Not dramatic, not enough to make a fuss, just enough that you catch yourself thinking, when did that start? That quiet change is incredibly common after 55, and it's usually not laziness or getting old in some vague way. It's simply that the muscles and circulation in your legs stop getting the regular challenge they need, so they gradually downshift. The good news is that you don't need a gym, fancy machines, or long workouts to turn that around. You just need two very simple movements you can do at home with a sturdy chair and a few minutes, and when you do them consistently, they support the two things that keep you confident on your feet: strong legs and good blood flow. Let me explain what's going on in plain language. As we get older, we naturally lose muscle if we don't give it a reason to stay, especially in the lower body, because modern life involves a lot of sitting. Over time, that can show up in everyday moments. You start using your hands to push off from a chair without even noticing. You hesitate before stairs. You feel a little wobbly when you first stand up, or you feel that heavy, tired leg sensation by late afternoon. On top of that, circulation in the legs can become less efficient, especially if you sit for long stretches. Blood has to travel back up to the heart against gravity, and your body relies heavily on a built-in helper for that job, the calf muscles. Every time your calves tighten, they squeeze the veins in the lower leg and help push blood upward, which is one reason regular walking feels so good for your legs. If you don't use those calf muscles much because you're sitting, shuffling, or taking shorter steps, your legs can swell more easily, feel achy, or simply feel drained. So our plan is straightforward. First, we wake up the calves with a controlled heel raise. Then we rebuild the stand-up strength you use all day with a chair squat. Nothing extreme, just steady, repeatable practice. Start with the first movement, a calf raise, done slowly and with intention. Stand behind a sturdy chair and rest your fingertips on the back for light support. You're not hanging on for dear life, just using it to feel secure. Place your feet about hip width to shoulder width apart, and take a second to stand tall. Imagine a string gently lifting the crown of your head, shoulders relaxed, chest open, and your belly lightly braced as if you're about to cough. Now, without rocking forward, slowly lift both heels off the floor so you rise onto the balls of your feet. Take about 2 seconds to rise. At the top, pause and feel the calves tighten. This is the part many people skip by rushing. Hold for a beat, then lower your heels back down slowly, taking 2 to 3 seconds, as if you're lowering onto thin ice quietly. That slow lowering matters because it trains control and builds strength in a way that carries over to balance and walking. Aim for 10 to 12 repetitions, rest briefly, and do 2 more rounds for a total of 3 sets. If that's too much at first, do 1 set today and add from there. The body responds beautifully to gradual progress. As the weeks go by, you can make it slightly more challenging in gentle ways. Hold the top position a little longer, do fewer reps but slower, or eventually try one leg at a time while still holding the chair for support. A very common mistake is bouncing up and down quickly, which turns it into momentum instead of muscle. Another is not lifting very high at all. Do lift as far as you comfortably can while staying steady. And another is leaning your whole body forward, which steals work away from the calves. Done well, this exercise often makes people notice their legs feel less puffy by evening, their steps feel more springy, and they feel steadier when they have to catch themselves. Now for the second movement, the one that protects independence more than most people realize, the chair squat, sometimes called a sit-to-stand. This is the same pattern you use when you rise from the toilet, stand up from the sofa, get out of bed, or stand up after tying your shoe. When this pattern weakens, people start compensating with their arms, pulling on furniture, or avoiding low chairs entirely, and that's where life quietly shrinks. Fewer outings, fewer walks, more hesitation. We want the opposite, confident legs that do their share of the work. Choose a firm chair that won't slide, no wheels, no wobble. Stand in front of it with the chair behind you, feet about shoulder width apart, toes turned slightly outward. Before you move, set your posture, chest comfortably lifted, shoulders relaxed, eyes looking forward rather than down. Now start the motion by sending your hips back as if you're reaching for the chair with your bottom, not by jamming your knees forward. Your knees will bend, of course, but think hips back first. Lower yourself slowly until you lightly touch the chair. Lightly is important. You're not dropping down, you're staying in control. Pause for a moment, 1 quiet second, then stand back up by pressing through your heels and mid-foot, as if you're pushing the floor away. At the top, fully stand tall and gently tighten the muscles in your backside for a second, because those muscles help stabilize the pelvis and make walking easier. A good rhythm is about 4 to 6 seconds total per repetition. Controlled down, brief touch, controlled up. Start with 8 to 10 repetitions, rest, and do 2 more rounds. If 8 is too many, start with 5. If even that feels like a lot, simply practice sitting down slowly with control and using your hands lightly to stand. Then reduce hand help over time. The goal isn't to prove anything in one day. It's to build a stronger stand-up system over the next month. Watch for a few common errors. Letting the knees collapse inward, keep them tracking in the same direction as your toes. Rounding the back, keep the chest open and spine long, and rushing. Rushing is tempting, but control is what teaches the body to be stable. Another thing to notice is where you feel the work. You should feel it in the front of the thighs and the hips, not as sharp pressure in the knees. If your knees feel cranky, shorten the range a bit. Use a slightly higher chair or place a firm cushion on the seat. Then gradually work lower as strength improves. Here's how I'd put this into a simple weekly routine that fits real life. 3 days a week, say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, set a timer for about 10 minutes. Do your calf raises first, 3 sets of 10 to 12 with short rests. Then do your chair squats, 3 sets of 8 to 10 with short rests. That's it. No special outfit, no travel time. You can do it while the kettle boils, while the news is on, or before you sit down for dinner. If you like linking habits, pair it with something you already do, after brushing your teeth, after your morning tea, or right before you phone a friend. Consistency beats intensity every time, especially for lasting strength after 55. And let me make this feel even more practical by putting it into scenes you'll recognize. Imagine you're visiting family and someone suggests a walk after lunch. Instead of thinking, "Will my legs behave today?" you simply stand up smoothly, step outside confidently, and keep a comfortable pace without that dragging, heavy feeling. Or picture getting out of a lower car seat without doing that little awkward rock forward, grab the door, push with the arms routine. Or walking up a flight of stairs while holding the rail lightly out of habit, not because you feel you must. Those changes don't come from doing something complicated. They come from strengthening the exact motions you live in every day and improving the way your legs help move blood back up the body. If you've been feeling a little unsteady, it's also worth remembering that strength and balance are close friends. When your calves are awake and your hips and thighs are stronger, your brain gets clearer feedback from your feet and legs, and you react more quickly if you trip on a rug edge or step onto uneven pavement. That's why people often say, after a few weeks of practice, "I just feel more sure of myself." Not pumped up, not athletic, just steadier, like their legs are back on their team. If you miss a day, nothing is ruined. If you have a week where life gets busy or you're traveling, you simply start again. The body responds to what you do most often, and these two movements are simple enough to return to without drama. Give it a few weeks and pay attention to the small wins. Standing up without using your hands, feeling less tired in the legs by late afternoon, walking with a more confident push-off, and noticing that stairs feel like a normal task and less like a negotiation. Those are the quiet signs that your lower body is rebuilding the kind of strength that supports the next decade and the decade after that. The most important thing is that you're not trying to fight aging as a concept. You're simply giving your body a clear, practical reason to stay capable. Start where you are, keep it steady, and let your progress be gradual and real, because the goal isn't to impress anyone. It's to move through your days with comfort, confidence, and the freedom to do what you enjoy.